Everyone, it's Nicole, Ecleo here, and today I'm going to be playing Subway Surfers while talking about a lot of things, actually. Unlike my other videos, this one doesn't really have a central topic, a thesis, in fact, not even a central theme. It's more of a transition video from my old channel towards my new channel. Actually, not a lot is going to change, but there are some changes that aren't even new. Like, I've been making it already, and I wanted to discuss them. Overall, I just wanted to have a heart to heart with all of you and to reflect on the past of my channel. In fact, some mistakes that I've made and things that I want to improve moving forward. And while doing that, I'm going to play Subway Surfers. Why is there no music? Okay, maybe that's a good thing because you guys will be listening to me anyway. I'm wearing this thing and I realize it's actually kind of uncomfortable to be to be wearing this while playing a video game. So I'm going to remove that. Okay. It is really pretty though. I actually got this from a business fair that was being held at my school by the grade 12 students because they were doing it for their on-trip subject. That's the name of it. Maybe just a little bit of sound won't hurt, right? Okay. You might be wondering, this is the first thing that I want to address, by the way. You might be wondering why I'm playing Subway Surfers instead of my usual Roblox. As you know, I am a huge fan of Roblox. If it weren't obvious enough already, you can scroll to the videos of my channel and see that there are a lot of Roblox gameplays. I started playing Roblox when I was in the 7th grade, so I believe that was late 2021. And the first time that I made a Roblox video was during that time as well, so you guys were actually able to see the first time that I ever played Roblox, and that's why I looked really incompetent during it. I didn't even know how to move the cursor whatsoever. But why I'm bringing this up is because I realized that this game that I really love actually has a dark side to it. And don't get me wrong, I'm still playing it, but with everything that's been, oh my gosh, with everything that's been going on, I don't deem it appropriate for me to be posting Roblox gameplays, at least during this time. If you're not aware, there have been lawsuits. There are lawsuits that are being filed against Roblox because of their mishandling of, I guess, exploitation reports that have occurred in game. And I don't want to be posting gameplays of them anymore until after that case is resolved, because it seems like it seems tone deaf. It seems like I'm promoting that kind of company, a kind of company that doesn't really care, doesn't really uphold their standards of safety. At least that's what it seems like. That's the allegations that have been made of them. And until then, until everything's resolved, I don't want to be showing that kind of content here right now. I'm still playing it though, I just don't want to film it. That's one of the things I wanted to say. Another thing, I'm sure all of you know how much I love Taylor Swift. Yikes, okay, we're talking about that now. No slander to Taylor, no hate. I still listen to her songs, but I have not been using her music as background music for my Facebook stories and Instagram stories anymore. I don't know if you noticed. And the reason for that is actually kind of lost some of my admiration for her because of a lot of reasons. And I will. Oh my gosh. Well, keep that down. I can't control the ads. This is a site that I suppose runs on ads, and that's why it's free, which is nice. Taylor Swift. I have a lot of concerns with her that only recently popped up, and So I will be talking about them. Actually, in fact, I already made a video about that. I just haven't posted it yet. But yeah, that's one. That's one of the things that I wanted to say. I don't really identify as a Swiftie anymore. I guess I like the music, but I think she's sort of changed as a person, and I think that's something that we're going to discuss. Again, no hate. I don't mean any disrespect. I don't think she's evil whatsoever, but she has accumulated some issues recently. And again, this is only a video that will be talking about a bunch of things. I'm not going to be going in depth with any of my points here. I will just be leaving it at that for now. And what else? I also realized how I wouldn't say boring, but some of my content is actually not really fitted into not what's the term, like it doesn't really catch a lot of attention, which is not something to apologize for, because it will be me who's suffering, not you guys. Because it's not your channel. But I guess some ways that I don't really edit well or something, and it makes the videos come off as boring. Some of them, not saying all. And another issue that I have with the videos that I've been posting, I've been like reviewing some of my past work, and though the core of it is there, and I don't regret anything that I said actually, but I think that the way that I sped up my reels, my shorts, actually made the information much less digestible. As you know, there's a 3-minute time limit on shorts and YouTube shorts and Facebook and Instagram reels. And I wanted those little speeches of mine to fit into that time limit because I wanted it to be short form. You know, I didn't want people to have to take so long into seeing those points of mine. Oh my gosh. I didn't want people to have to take so long in seeing those points of mine. And so I really wanted it to be short form. I really pushed it to be short form. But then I realized that it actually made it much less comprehensible to force all of that info into, like, I literally sped up the video. I didn't shorten the script. I sped up the video, which made my words incomprehensible. I was speaking too fast, or at least it seemed like it, because again, I sped up the video. And so I think that just because of me speeding it up alone, it defeated the purpose of me wanting to get my point across and me wanting to spread those advocacy messages that were really important to me. And so I would like to announce that I will not be doing that anymore. I am not going to speed up videos, or at least an irrational speed up. Just a little bit here and there is okay, but to the point where I have to announce that it's sped up and that it's really noticeable that I'm talking at an unnatural length, I don't think that I should not be doing that anymore, because it just defeats the purpose of me wanting to, again, spread those advocacy messages that are important to me. Why did I turn on hoverboard? I didn't mean to do that. I wanted this to be a no hoverboard run, but okay, whatever. And there's that. Another thing, just directly connected to that, I think that I've discovered that short form is not my thing. No. The thing I notice with a lot of short form, especially when it comes to the kind of content that I make, which is advocacy, right? Talking about social and political issues, the thing that I notice with short form is that they sort of just make their claim, and that's that. Like, they do get ready with me's, and then, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but they state their claim and they sort of don't really present the arguments or evidence. So it's kind of slogan-ish, preachy-ish, if you know what I mean. And that's not the type of content that I do, because I don't know if you noticed, but with those advocacy videos of mine, which lately have been regarding education and bullying, that was my main topics of concern. I always put like actual reasons for what I'm saying. I really don't like using slogans or shortening everything, oversimplifying arguments, and overall saying my opinion as if it's something that's already been widely accepted. I don't want to be preachy. I want to actually show you why I believe what I believe, why I am advocating for the things I advocate for. And I think that 3 minutes is not really enough to provide that nuanced of an argument. And connected to this, I'm sorry, I lied, okay? What I was doing was not rants. I know I labeled them as rants, right? I was like, rants by a concerned student whatsoever. But if you actually listen to what I was saying and how I was delivering it, those weren't rants. Because rants would be something like, oh, this is stupid, la di da di da. And I actually didn't insult anyone or anything. I made that a point. And not only that, but actually provided evidence and arguments as to why I thought that. It wasn't a mere complaint, but I was also providing structure, and not only that, but solutions, which is distinct from a rant, which only complains, right? But I was actually providing, showing the problem, why it's a problem, and the solutions to that problem. I accidentally pressed pause. So there's that. Those weren't rants. That was my marketing strategy, because I know that if I labeled them as rants, more people would listen, because people love to hear other people complain. That's why I labeled them as rants. I'm sorry, it's a marketing strategy, okay, forgive me. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So if you actually listen to what I said, the structure of my talking in those videos, those were not rants, those were argumentative speeches. And how argumentative speeches go is that they present the claim, they present the arguments, and then they also present the other side. So I was also arguing for the other side, and then I countered that. So it's more of, in debate, we call that preemptive argument. I learned this when I was training for a debate competition last October 2025. It's this thing where you anticipate what counter arguments your opponent might have, and then counter them before they can. And that's what I did. And that's one of the key things about argumentative speeches. I presented the other side, and then I countered that, and afterward I provided solutions. And of course, I can't quote myself verbatim right now, but if you could go back to those videos, if you have time, you could actually see that structure that I had all throughout. So there's that. It was not ranting, it was argumentative speeches. At least that's the definition of it that I learned in school and in debate competitions, the whole preemptive thing. I was not ranting, not merely ranting. It was a complaint of sorts, but I never left it just at that, because I'm not the type to complain without solutions. I don't like people like that, actually, where they complain, but they don't actually provide any insight as to how to solve that problem. No hate, just saying. I personally don't really like that kind. Can I use the key? Is that cheating? I want to use a key. I'm just gonna play for now, because like I'm running out of things to say. Huh? I swear I had a lot I wanted to talk about, like, ooh. Oh my gosh. I think I've said pretty much everything I wanted to say. Oh wait, no. The content will remain about the same. Okay, so I'm not gonna do short form. I realize it's not for me. I'm not gonna compress videos. I'm not going to promote Roblox and Taylor Swift for now. And actually, the big announcement that you're all waiting for. It's kind of cringe. It's not cringe. Actually, it's not cringe. It's a very commonplace thing, but it feels strange. I'm opening a podcast. Shocking. Okay, I know. But it's just, I think that a lot of the things that I want to promote don't really need visuals. YouTube and videos in general, videos are both audio and picture, right? You're seeing something, but a lot of times when I wanted to speak on my channel, I didn't have any pictures to show. At most, I would show like the sources that I got my arguments from. I mean, my evidence for my arguments from. But I didn't really have anything for you to see. I don't do fancy editing or any of that, because the thing is, I want the focus to be on my voice and the things that I'm actually saying. And I think that YouTube is not quite the platform for that. I will still be using YouTube, but I will still be using videos, but it will be for vlogs like this, gaming and travel vlogs and all of that. But I think that my advocacy speeches and actually going in depth about the social issues that I care about should not really be on video. I think that visuals are not important in the kind of content that I want to make anyway. I'm not saying that no one should. Some people are really good at editing and actually have some things to show on screen. Me, I don't. I realized that I was just talking for a lot of those things, and all you could see is my face, which is pretty boring. And so I think that a podcast format would actually be more appropriate for me in those kinds of things. Another thing is, again, I don't want to do short form anymore, and podcasts are usually the place to do like 1 hour conversations about a particular topic. So that's why I want to open a podcast, and I'm actually working on it already. Okay, and I think that's the end of it. I think that's all that I have to say for that. I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. I'm going to go now. Take care. I never do that. I never do it. What? Oh, I actually earned a lot of coins in this match. I wonder how. And I didn't use hoverboards. I barely used hoverboards, guys. In fact, I don't even remember how many runs I've done just now. Oh, I have an award. Oh, 8 keys? That's a lot. Okay, so that's all, I suppose. Take care. So cringe, I don't know how to do an outro.